Anyhow, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions to us 8 groups of people that can take zakat money. Now we have to remember zakat is talking about the fard, the obligatory money that a person has to give. The obligatory. There is nawafil money that you can give as a nafil, as you can call it extra credit. You can give whatever you want to give. Alhamdulillah, no problem. But the obligatory zakat, which is due, there are 8 categories of people that can receive it. First of all, what is the literal meaning of zakat? Zakat lughatan means to grow. Al-malu tanqusuhu an-nafaqatu wal-ilmu yasku ala al-infaqi. There comes that wealth, it decreases with spending, with paying bills. وَالْعِلْمُ يَسْكُ عَلَى الْإِنفَاقِ. And knowledge increases by spending it. Knowledge increases by spending it and speaking about it. So zakat has the meaning of growth. And zakat also has the meaning of taharat and purification. Zakat also has the meaning of taharat and purification. So when we give our zakat, then our wealth becomes purified. And we become purified. Our wealth becomes purified and we become purified from greed and so forth and so on. And zakat so has the meaning of taharat, and zakat has the meaning of barakah, also of blessings. So when we give our zakat money, there will be what? There will be barakah in our wealth. And there will be barakah in ourselves and our lives. And the same root letters, which is za, kaf, and waw, or the same root letters which is used for purification of the nafs as well. We say tazkiyah, right? Say tazkiyah, the same root letters are used for what? For tazkiyah and for purification. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ وَصَلَّى. Successful is that person who gave sadaqah, وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ, and he remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَصَلَّى. From this, the scholars of the Ahnaf take what mas'ala? They say that takbir ula, that the takbir is not part of salah. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. So they say, see, the salah, the Allahu Akbar, the takbir ula, is not part of salah, but it is tarfan. It is just on the side. Anyways, that is a technical thing. Anyhow, so successful is that person who gave money, who gave sadaqah, and he remembered his Lord. He said Allahu Akbar, fasalla, and then he prayed. So zakat has mukhtalif ma'ani as far as the literal meanings of it is concerned. And in the Sharia, it means the specific amount of wealth that a person has to give, right, after he has had nisab, after he has become sahib nisab, after he has developed wealth, he has earned amount of wealth, and one complete hawlan or hawl, according to the lunar calendar, based on the local moon sighting, has occurred, then one whole year has passed on it, then he will have to give a 1/40th of that amount according to fractional calculations. Right? You know what I'm talking about. So in Sharia, zakat means that a person has to give the stipulated amount of wealth that a person has to give after he has become owner of nisab, and that nisab has stayed with him, not necessarily for the whole year. One hawlan al-hawl has taken place, and he has begun the year with nisab, and he has finished the year with nisab. In between the year, he has not gone to zero or below zero. The amount of zakat, the nisab for gold is what? Is 87.48 grams. So if a person has 87.48 grams of gold, or the dollar equivalent of it, then he's known as a rich man. He's known as a rich man. He's now known as sahib nisab. And if a person has 612 or 612.36 grams of silver, so either he has to have 87.48 grams of gold.
How much is approximately the value? How much is the silver again?
The silver is 612. 612 grams, 0.36. 612 grams of silver. 0.36 grams of silver he has. In dirhams and dinars, right, it is 20 mithqals of gold. 20 mithqals of gold, which was a weight measurement, 20 mithqals of gold or 200 dirhams. Understand? I don't think we're doing currency nowadays in mithqals and dirhams, so therefore we did it in grams and, understand, in gold and silver. Or the dollar equivalent of this. The dollar equivalent of this. So if you have the dollar equivalent to the gold, or if you have the dollar equivalent to the silver, meaning if you reach, either you have gold this much, or you have silver this much, right? Not both of them, any of them. Or you have the dollar equivalency of any of them. Whichever one is more beneficial for the fuqara, for the poor people. Then you are considered to be a rich person and you have to give zakat. You become sahib in nisab, but you don't have to give zakat right away. In Western, yes?
The silver is cheaper than the gold. So like the equivalent dollar of the gold is more than the silver.
Yes.
So if you say that for the better thing for the poor Muslims, so we have to try to do it for the silver.
Yes. That is right. That is the case perhaps right now. But there's no general rule that silver will always stay like that. It could be that the 612 grams of silver may cost more at one time than 4.48 grams of gold, or 87.48 grams of gold may cost more than 612 grams of silver. So whichever one you hit first, understand? If you are becoming sahib in nisab, then that is according to that. Whether it's by gold or by silver, you can do your calculation.
The silver is less expensive. We have to go with the silver?
You will have to go with the silver. If the silver is less expensive, you will have to go with the silver. Yes, brother. I'll take a question and then, let me finish and then I will take everybody's question. But let me take yours right now. Yes?
Just what would the equivalent be in US dollars?
In US dollars, you would have to check that out. I don't know. But you would have to find out, understand? Check with
what's gold or silver
Google,
trading these days.
Yeah, and then accordingly you will be able to accordingly you will be able to figure it out. Understand? So once you hit nisab, now let's say for example you become sahib in nisab. Now everybody's nisab starts at a different time. A lot of people think that it starts in Ramadan. No, it doesn't start in Ramadan. It's when you become a rich man. All right. I don't know who's rich here and who's poor here, okay? But understand, some people look very rich, but they're not maybe. Some people look poor, but they're very rich. So understand, don't judge a book by its cover, right? That's in deen and in dunya, right? Anyhow, so a person's nisab will start when he makes that much money. He sells some car, he makes some business transactions, and all of a sudden he made that money, and he's now in the bracket of sahib nisab, people of nisab. So then his year starts. His lunar year will start according to the Islamic calendar, we go by what?
Lunar.
By the lunar calendar. We do not go by the Shamsi calendar. Understand? We go by the lunar calendar because our deen is a very natural deen based on observation, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made our deen and practice of our deen based upon such things which are available for us and for our observation no matter where we may be. We may be in the airplane, we may be on the ground, we may be in the desert, we may be in the ocean. Understand? You want to pay your zakat, look out, see if your year has become complete, and you will know the date and time. So according to the lunar calendar, based on observation, the year will begin and the year will finish. So let's say it is the first of Muharram. Okay, I'm using Muharram, not Ramadan purposely, so people come out of the understanding that it's only in Ramadan. So let's say it's the first of Muharram, and you become sahib in nisab, you made some transactions, and you made this much money. When are you going to check yourself again?
Muharram.
The following year, on the first of Muharram, you're going to check yourself again to see if you still have 87.48 grams of gold or
equivalent,
or more than it, or equivalent of it in dollar amount. In between the year, if you went below nisab, let's say in between the year you went to 80 grams of gold or 70 grams of gold, then you came back up, then you went down, then you came back up. Does it make a difference?
No. As long as. As long as you don't go to zero or negative.
As long as you do not go to zero or you do not go to negative, it makes no difference. So even if you're left with 1 gram of gold, so long as you started, when the year started, that day when you put that check mark on your calendar, 1 year later, you will then put your check mark on that same date, and you will see on the 1st of Muharram next year, if you have 87.48 grams of gold, or 612 grams of silver, or the dollar equivalency of it, then you will be known, you will have to now pay zakat. And how much will you pay? You pay 1/40th of it. And I say I use fractions because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has spoken in fractions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has spoken in fractions, and some other time we can speak about why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has spoken in fractions and not in decimals and percentages. Right? But that's a whole different discussion by itself. But 1/40th of your wealth. But anyways, in these modern times, that is 2.5%. 2.5% of your wealth. Understand?
ربع العشر, huh?
Yes. Rubul Ushr, exactly. Exactly. And the fuqaha have also spoken, exactly like Brother Ali, like Sheikh Ali has mentioned.
Not Sheikh, brother.
أنت شيخي أتعلم منك. Brother Ali, alhamdulillah, I also learned from him, mashallah. He's a person of knowledge. And alhamdulillah, I learned from him. So, alhamdulillah, barakallah feek. Yes, brother.
In today's salaried working environment, are you going to base it on before tax or after tax?
We'll get to that. Let me just finish the general stuff. Inshallah. In between the year, if you go down and above, it doesn't make a difference so long as you do not go to zero. If you go to zero, what happens? Your year terminates, you finish, and you're no longer, the alarm clock stops. You put the stop on it's not the snooze button anymore, huh? It's the stop button on the alarm clock. Understand? If you're going low, you're just checking it, but once you hit zero or below zero, you go to thing. The other thing that is the amount of wealth that you owe to somebody. Let's say you have $10,000, right? But you owe somebody, understand, $5,000. So what you owe, understand, gets subtracted, or if you want to speak in algebraic terms, the negative gets added. Okay? If you want to speak in algebraic terms, the negative gets added, and in normal terms, what? The money that you owe gets subtracted from what? From the amount that you have. So if you have $10,000 and you owe somebody or you owe people $5,000, in other words, how much money do you have? You have $5,000, and that $5,000 you will have to give zakat upon. Zakat is due on those things which are above and beyond the Hawaij Asliya. Hawaij Asliya are those things which a person uses in their life. So your homes that you use, 1 house or 2 houses or whatever number of homes that you have, that you're living in, you don't pay zakat on it. The car that you drive, 1 car, 2 cars, or 10 cars, I don't know, some people have like a lot of cars, right? They drive a lot of cars. Shariat, look, the wus'at in Shariat. Shariat is so wasi that, there are some people, they want to live lavishly, right? They want to have 10 cars. So Shariat has not put zakat on any of those 10 cars upon him. So long as he's using it, or so long as he has the intention of use and he's using it at some point in time, then that is his Hawaii Jasliya. The clothes that a person wears, there's no zakat on it. And all these things. So,
how about the hili for the ladies?
Yes, the huliya for the ladies, there is zakat on it according to the Hanafi fuqaha, according to Imam Abu Hanifa and the Hanafi scholars, and according to Imam Shafi. Don't become Shafi just because of this masala, because there's a lot of other masalas that the Hanafis are much more easier than the Shafis, okay? Understand? Including wudu and stuff like that. So in this masala, Hanafis are a little bit stronger. Understand? The jewelry that a woman has, all those golds and bangles and I don't know what those Indian ornaments are, right? All of those are all, they're all zakatable. You have to give zakat on it. Understand? Huh?
Zakatable.
Zakatable, yeah.
Taxable.
They're taxable and they're zakatable assets. So those are from your Hawaii Asliya. And
person receiving, you said 8 categories of person.
yes, that is a very important thing. Who are the people that can receive zakat money? The people, there are 8 groups of, should we do it? Do we have time for this or not?
Yes, sure.
I don't want to, if anybody has
so
to
keep
go.
it, I would keep it for a different time, so every time there's one important message. And that's
There is a
very important.
tafsil in that.
Okay, right. So we'll leave the 8 categories of the people that can receive zakat money, understand, for some other night, and that's a very important subject.
Yes.
It's a very important subject. And
Some people are not going to like it.
huh? It's fine.
Okay.
So if someone bought a house and they still owe money on the house,
Why you put the hand?
are they still paying
You're not gonna
interest
give
on
me
it?
zakat.
Or, I mean, zakah? I mean, if you just, the house
I
has
have a
not been
point to
paid
make.
for yet.
I'm sorry.
If you bought a house,
You
and
bought
you
a
still
house?
owe a couple $100,000 in that house,
Yes.
and the money you're making barely make it to support your family,
Yes.
are you required to pay zakah?
Okay, so you're saying, for example, you bought a house,
Yeah.
right?
You still pay it.
And you have money that you have saved up, right?
No, you're not saved up. You're still just paying.
Okay. So if you have nothing saved up, anyways, whether you have a house or you don't have a house, there is no zakat because you're not a rich person.
Sheikh,
But if you have a house, yeah.
since you taught me this mas'ala, could you correct me if I got it wrong?
Please.
That if you're paying payments on something, and you do have over the nisab, you do have over the certain amount of money, the 612.36 grams of silver, in this case, in today's economy, then what you would do is you would look at what is directly owed. The total 200,000 that you owe for the house, that doesn't count. You're not going to say that I'll never pay zakah until I pay the 200,000. No. You subtract the direct debt that you have, which is the payment for that month, from the amount of money that you have, and you don't count it towards your zakah. And then you see, over that debt that you have for that month only, if you have whatever is over the nisab, then you pay 1/40th of that in zakah.
So in financial terms, that's what is called net asset. So you take your complete assets minus liabilities, which is debts that you owe, things and stuff, and that becomes your net asset. And if the net asset is above the nisab, that's what you pay the zakat on the net asset.
Well, same thing he gives first example, if you're 10,000 and you own 5,000, the rest 5,000 you gotta pay.
Except one thing which...
But in case of mortgage is different.
Except one thing which Imam Abu Bakr was explaining. Let him explain it again.
That there's a difference between the direct debt that you have and the long-term debt. So let's say you owe still $200,000 on the house, and you have $10,000. So now you're going to subtract 200,000 from 10,000, that's negative 190,000. So you'll never be paying zakah until you pay the whole amount. So what you do, let's say your monthly payment is $1,000. So now, and let's say that the nisab is $1,000, to make it very simple. So now, the nisab is the amount of money that you have. So now you have, you owe directly how much? $1,000. The 200,000 you don't owe it directly, you owe it long term. But the direct thing that you owe is $1,000. So now you have 10,000. So you subtract that 1,000. Now you have 9,000. Is that more than $1,000? So you're over the nisab or not?
Exactly.
You're over it. So now you're going to pay 1/40th of that $9,000.
Exactly. So on what is immediately due, on that day that your year is becoming complete, you look at what is your immediate, the bank cannot ask you for the next month's rent. They can only ask you for this month's rent. Since they can only ask you for this month's rent, you can take out that 1 month's rent out and subtract it from the amount of wealth that you have. And you
So
pay on them.
the excess amount you have at the end of the year after you pay all your payment, that's you have to pay zakah.
Not all your payments.
No, the zakah, the excess after you pay all your payments.
Your bills.
For that
Your
month.
bills, yeah.
For that
Yeah,
month.
Savings,
yeah,
or
that's it.
if you have gold, on those things, assets.
Yes, brother.
Yeah, say I have 10,000 and payment is 1,000. If I think that I will pay the 9,000 extra to get rid of those loans quickly, so can I do that without paying zakah?
The thing is, you can do that, but you have to do it prior to your end,
1 year.
your year terminating. So let's say your year had started in the 15th of Muharram, for example, right? So now let's say it's only the 10th of Muharram, and you don't want to pay zakat, but you want to take this money and pay off the loan. So you can take your $10,000 and give it all to the bank and pay it off, and then that way you will not have to pay any zakat.
Before the year's end.
But yeah, before iktimal al-hawl.
Yeah, but when the hawlan al-hawl finishes on you, once the year finishes on you, then you have to pay zakat on the whole
You're
thing.
locked in.
You know what the best solution is though? In the
You want to pay
future,
mortgage?
inshallah, don't get yourself in interest. And then the situation where you have to pay it.
That's the best thing.
That's another big issue.
Big
Yeah,
issue.
it's a big issue.
I'm a brother and I'm also the sheikh.
MashaAllah.
My name is Muhammad Hussein Sheikh.
MashaAllah. Barakallah, Maulana.
You guys were born shuyukh. Gina.
And we're so humble, MashaAllah.
You were a shaykh when I was crawling.
What's the name of the Sahabi who's the comedian at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and he makes people laugh?
You know
With a good sense
I
of humor.
forgot his name.
Is it Dihya?
No.
I forgot. He used to be known as the Dahouk. Yeah. He's our Dahouk. So he's Shaykh al-Dahik.
Yes,
He always
Can we ask a
trolls
question
the
about
sheikhs.
yesterday's? What we talked
yes,
about?
please.
So we kind of had a mental dispute about this. What's the evidence that you do not need to have the intention for an action to still be accepted? About what you mentioned yesterday. Because then, if that happens, then that just negates the principle that you do need intentions for actions to get accepted.
But you went outside the subject now.
Oh, no, wallah, I asked if it's...
No, it's fine.
No, wallah, I asked first. if
No, it's
okay.
fine.
Actually, in the sharh of the hadith, it says, and that's the next thing we're going to cover, inshallah, next time, is it said, for certain things that actually, like removing najasa and what they call the tark, staying away from haram. I don't need to make an intention to stay away from haram or to remove a najasa and stuff. Though that it is amal, it does not require an intention, because al-qasd minhu يعني واضح. Okay, it's clear, right? So that's part of that sharh in terms of the a'mal that don't require the niyyah.
Well, to be more specific, because what was mentioned was, for example, wudu. I mean, wudu is something that's extremely important, because if I go in the shower and then I come out without making an intention, do I have wudu or do I not have wudu? Because then my prayers would
I
stand
understand
on
your question. I will look into it.
that.
And I'll try to give you an answer to the brothers as well. It's a very good question.
And Sheikh didn't say that all things don't need an intention. He said there are just a few
Few
specific
things.
Oh, a few things are. Well, I mean, to clarify, because you know,
One
we
of
do
them is the
it
ghusl.
every day.
He gave the example of the
ghusl
ghusl.
and wudu
And-
is extremely important.
Exactly.
And the ghusl happens to be part of what? Removing the najasa. And therefore, even if it happens accidentally, and your najasa is removed, خلاص. استكملت الشرط يعني.
There's two types of najasa. One is najasa hukmiya, which, for example, somebody breaks their wudu, but there's no filth on their body. Their hands are clean, everything is clean. But hukman, they're in a state of najasa, so they remove izalat najasa like that. And when there is a najasa, there's a zahir or something visible, something that is there, then that needs physical removal as well. So the water is a purification for both of those. I will look into that. It's a very good question, inshallah.
I have an idea. Maybe one hadith that may be related, and it is in the aspect of tahara, that some people were saying that the people the ladies that they walk with the long jilbab, it touches the floor, and they said that it picks up dirt and najasa and stuff like that. So the Prophet ﷺ said that no, it also it goes on the dirt and it cleans it off. So now this hadith is saying that their clothes are getting impure, but then they're also being purified, and they never had any intention in the matter whatsoever. So it shows that there is a purification going on without them intending a purification.
Yeah, that's correct. The only one difference, however, here is that would be also referring to a najasat which there is something physical, and here is there's a najasat which relates to exactly hukm najasa, like a hadath, when a person when air is passed, there's no actually physical najasat on the person's body. It's a very good question, mashallah, and that's also a very good fiqh point, mashallah, that you mentioned. Barakallahu. I think we can stop here if there's any other questions.
Barakallah.
We'll continue on the masala of zakat. Once the online course starts, I think I'll be like rushing back to the classroom. I made one piece of hair shaheed.